Egad! Is this someone's room or a jungle?
Quite a fascinating array of plants in here, not to mention the machinery on the table.
Seems like Juliet is very interested in getting extra credit.
Well now, this is interesting.
Just a bunch of technical nonsense. I can't understand a word of it. They're just doing what flies do best. I have no idea nor desire to know what purpose that thing has. Oh, would you look at that? They appear to be scientific scribblings. I can't make heads nor tails of them.
That makes two of us.
They appear to be...
That makes
That's quite the book collection. It almost puts Adelaide's to shame.
all impeccably cataloged and organized as well, which makes the two missing volumes stand out even more.
I wonder what sort of fertilizer or growth tonic these plants are getting. Whatever it is, it's definitely working. Ah, St. Denis Cemetery. Best view in the city. It's just a shame none of the residents can enjoy it. I think I'm buried around here somewhere. Wonder how the old gravestone is doing these days. I don't know him. Must be a recent addition to the force. Well, at least he won't recognize you.
Good day to you, officer.
Good day, sir. How may I be of assistance?
Would you mind letting me in the tomb, please?
Afraid I can't do that, sir. This tomb is currently part of a police investigation and ain't available for visits until further notice.
I'll just keep moving along.
Have a nice day, sir.
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
I wanted to go over the case with you.
Okay, what have you got?
I seem to have hit a roadblock. There's an officer posted at Dupre's family tomb, and he won't let me in.
Makes sense. Who's the officer?
I've never seen him before. He's young, has a small scar over his left eye, and a distinct Dixie accent.
Ah, yes, that would be Officer Grant. He's only been with the department for about 2 months. I don't know a lot about him, but he's already got the reputation for being the type of policeman who'd go out of his way to help old ladies cross the street. Typical Southern gentleman, it seems. Perhaps you can use that to your advantage?
Madame Dupre's son isn't being very helpful.
Is he refusing to talk?
More like incapable. The family doctor has him pretty well drugged to the gills. I need to find some way to perk him up.
Well, you know, we are in a coffee house.
I have a feeling it will take something a touch more powerful than coffee. That's enough about the case for now.
Okay,
That's it, I think.
then you'd better get back to it.
I've managed to survive the wild streets of New Britannia.
Good to see you've made it back in one piece.
Addie?
Yes, dear?
I was wondering if you could do me a favor.
What is it?
There's an officer posted in front of Madame Dupre's family tomb, and I need to get a look inside. Could you use your wiles and charm to distract him?
My wiles and charm,
Well, you are irresistible, darling. I'm sure he wouldn't turn away a lady in need. Say you've gotten lost in the cemetery and ask him to show you the way out.
Should we really be tricking a police officer like that?
There's no harm in it, and I won't be but a moment inside. It's in a good cause.
All right, let's go then. Excuse me, officer. I was wondering if you could help me?
What do you want?
I seem to have gotten all turned around. Do you have any idea how to get to the front gate?
My suggestion would be to turn around and head back the way you came.
Yes, I've tried that, but I seem to just be going in circles. Perhaps you could point me in the right direction?
Stop right there. That's quite enough from you.
I beg your pardon?
Don't think I can't tell what your game is. You're trying to lure me away from here and into some alley where your gang of Sambos is gonna rob me blind. Exactly how many of them have you got lying in wait for poor, unsuspecting fools you bring them?
Just one. And he doesn't appreciate you talking to his wife that way.
You know, Miles, sometimes I forget how absolutely delightful it is to watch you lose your head.
Miles, was that really necessary?
I'm sorry, Addie. You know how I get with people whose minds are full of that rubbish.
Let's just get him out of sight before this lands both of us in jail. That bush over there should work. I have to say, I wasn't expecting assaulting a policeman to be on today's activity list.
It'll be fine. When you're on the force as long as I was, you can pretty much get away with murder.
Well, it's been fun, but I need to take my wiles and charm over to my appointment with Mrs. Lefebvre. I'll see you at home later, dear. Try to stay out of trouble.
What a dramatic statue. I'm rather surprised no one has defaced it. Hang on. You don't suppose this is... Surprise, surprise! A hidden compartment with a stash of pills inside. Seems Mr. Montgomery has a little business on the side. This must be what was going to be Madame Dupre's final resting place.
I don't see anything inside.
What, were you expecting a note from her attacker?
No, but I was hoping for some kind of clue at the very least.
Oh, it's as though we've journeyed to the tropics. I don't know how you can stand to keep that coat on in here.
Pardon the disturbance, but are you Juliet Montgomery?
I am. And you are?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into the events surrounding your mother's attempted murder.
Ah, of course.
Have you got time to answer some questions?
Yes, that shouldn't be a problem.
Do you know anything about the events leading up to your mother's premature interment?
No, it was a complete shock. Mother seemed to be perfectly healthy and full of life. Then, without warning, she was dead. Or so we thought.
I take it you were glad to be wrong?
What a ridiculous question. Of course I was. What sort of heartless beast would celebrate their mother's death?
Oh, I could name a few. Juliet definitely didn't shed any tears over Madame Dupre, though. That much is obvious.
Miss Montgomery, you don't have to lie to me. I'm not going to assume you tried killing your mother just because you weren't upset by her death.
I felt terrible about it. You have to understand, I didn't want her to be dead. I just felt a sense of relief. Please, don't think me a horrible person, Mr. Fordham. It's just that Mother and I aren't currently on the best of terms.
Why don't you and your mother get along?
We've never completely seen eye to eye on anything. She always disapproved of anything I did. When I was younger, she used to forbid me from speaking to the servants. I saw no harm in a kind word or smile, but she warned us that if we were too familiar, they would take liberties. Then when I declared my intentions to pursue academic studies, She really went livid. In her opinion, a university education was tantamount to a chastity belt. What sort of man would want a wife with a head full of useless facts, she'd say.
Personally, I've always found intelligence to be quite attractive.
I assume your mother didn't approve of your involvement with Mr. Martin?
A rather forward question, Mr. Fordham. But you're not mistaken. I'm not sure how she managed to find out about Albert and me, but when she did, she nearly had a conniption. As I'm sure you can understand, the situation at home has been less than perfect in the last few months. I'd really rather not dwell on it.
You mentioned you were friends with the servants.
Yes, that's right. I didn't care that they worked for us. Everyone needs a friend.
Did your mother ever mistreat them?
Mistreat? No, I wouldn't say so. She was always very stern, though, and quite cold. If they ever shirked their duties or misbehaved, they were punished, of course, but nothing out of the ordinary that I ever saw. Most of the servants are my friends, but I'm closest with Amelie, the kitchen maid. Mother wasn't too happy about that. Amelie's been around as long as I can remember. She's like the aunt I never had.
What can you tell me about Albert Martin?
I'm not quite sure where to begin.
Why not start by telling me what your relationship with him was?
We met here at the greenhouse. He was working as an assistant, sweeping and cleaning and fetching things for the students. My focus was on academics, naturally. I wasn't too interested in romance. In fact, I've had to turn away nearly every single one of my classmates. But with Albert, I found myself intrigued. I noticed him stealing glances, lingering just a bit too long after bringing over a book or flask, sweeping the same patch of floor near me over and over again. It wasn't too long before I had him bringing me tools and equipment, regularly.
I see.
As I mentioned, Mother was an absolute terror when she found out.
Do you believe Mr. Martin did what he stands accused of?
I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't seem like him, but Albert can be quite passionate. If the police believe he's to blame, then they must have a reason for it. It wasn't any secret that he hated Mother. Perhaps I should have ended things sooner. It was satisfying to know that Mother was displeased, but I never imagined it would lead to something like this.
Well, it's nice to see she's all heart.
So, you study botany. Fascinating subject.
Are you an admirer of plants, Mr. Fordham?
My wife has the green thumb in the household, but I do have a certain appreciation for them.
Plants are amazing things, just like people in many ways.
How do you mean?
They need attention and care. Ignore a plant, and it will wither. Give it too much attention, and it will become sick. Plants have many things to teach us, and I greatly enjoy learning from them.
Do you know anything about ethericity, Miss Montgomery?
You surprised me, Mr. Fordham. I had no idea someone of your profession would know or care about something like that.
I've found that it pays to be open-minded.
To answer your question, yes, I am familiar with the theory of ethericity. In fact, it's recently become a focus of my studies. Despite what the newspapers have been reporting, it's already possible to access it in small quantities from the air around us.
Have you conducted any experiments?
No, my research has been purely theoretical. I don't have the means to do anything practical, I'm afraid.
Deceiver, dissembler, her trousers are alight. I can't understand why Juliet might not want to make her research public, though.
Miss Montgomery, please don't lie to me. I know you've been conducting experiments with ethericity. I've seen the room you're renting on Forest Lane.
What? But how?
I wouldn't be very good at my job if I didn't find things out, Miss Montgomery. Now please, drop the act and tell me about your experiments.
Fine. I've been researching etheric effects on living organisms. I'm planning on presenting my discoveries to the board once I make more progress. So far, I've managed to discover that plant growth is accelerated significantly. It's given me quite the advantage in class.
But isn't that cheating?
You have no idea how difficult it's been for me to be taken seriously, Mr. Fordham. No matter how hard I tried, my work wasn't valued on its own merits by my peers or professors. I fought hard to get where I am. I wasn't about to lose all that just because some pig-headed idiots didn't think my best was good enough.
That sounds awfully familiar.
What about your notes on the effects of ethericity on animals?
Oh, those aren't complete. I haven't tested the effects on anything larger than flies. Those experiments were mainly to satisfy my curiosity, but they have little to do with my actual research.
Curiosity? Seems like a lot of effort to go to just to answer a question. But then, I never really understood these scientific types.
What can you tell me about your brother?
Andrew, Mama's precious little boy. If you've met him, you pretty much know all you need to. He's had the whole world handed to him on a silver platter. But he's in for a rude awakening someday. Mother can only provide for him for so long.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.